Showtime.
We're back for episode 8.
It is 8. Oh, shit.
I know, we're really getting down there.
Yeah, we're almost done.
It's wild. So, first things first, that cold open.
That cold open was cute.
It's so cute. A lot of the cold opens they've been doing this season have really been surprising because they've been like anime original content.
Yeah.
A lot of them.
Yeah.
So they're kind of hard to predict in that way.
Yeah.
But they're great. I love it.
Yeah, I really like them. I like, I don't know, I just thought it was a really cute little snippet of, like, Mob in his childhood and how, like, he showed more emotions as a kid, obviously, before, like, the incident with Rinsu. The incident happened.
Pre-incident.
Which is, God, what a headache for their parents every time, like, Mob skids his knees, things go flying, like, poor kid.
Yeah, can you imagine every time your kid has a tantrum, like...
Oh, God.
No wonder they're, like, so done with him by the time he's 14.
By the time...
And they're like, stop bending spoons!
Right. By the time Reagan comes along, it's like, I'll teach your kid.
Yeah, they're like, take him.
They're like, take him, please. That's why they
you
were
can
fine
keep
with
him.
it. That's why they were fine with it. You can keep him. But no, it shows, like, you know, how, like, close Mob is with his family and how much he loves his parents.
And they really set up a gut punch for the end with this one, too, which I didn't even think that when I first watched the cold open. I was like, oh, nice. And then I was like, oh, wait.
Oh, nice. Yeah, you're like, wait, which arc is this?
How's this episode going to end?
Yeah, exactly. Like, wait, what happens again?
So then they started with some more of, like, the Psycho Helmet cult stuff, which in the manga, they had a little bit of that at the end of Separation Arc where it showed how they recognized Mob from the footage from the press conference. Yeah. Which they moved that to the beginning of this, which is fine, works well.
Yeah, it works well because it doesn't
kind of detracts from the end of it would have detracted from the end of that episode to like tack that on. Yeah. So yeah, that's good.
I agree.
Setting it up, keeping things moving along for the...
I think it's hilarious how the Psycho Helmet cult has been like hinted at and been a thing since like the very beginning.
From the third episode.
Yeah, it's still just being carried
It's
along.
Hilarious.
Like,
it's so funny.
How's this gonna end?
I'm so excited for Broccoli arcs, to be honest.
I know. Right.
Oh, that'll be fun whenever that happens.
Right, and it's just a reminder, this is a thing.
Yeah,
this is a story element.
Keep this in the back of your head.
Right, exactly. And then...
Love it.
Yeah.
Then... we get a little marathon training scene, which is so cute. I mean, this was just such a nice, like, little slice of life thing. Yeah. Seeing so many of the characters, seeing the telepathy club, seeing the body improvement club, Onigawara.
Right. And I think this arc, and kind of going back to, like, when he's on the roof with Misato and Dimple kind of acknowledges, like, you really, because he's ready to confess to Tsubomi now, and gave himself a goal, like, it really shows, like, he's like, wow, he's really grown. And, like, we were kind of talking about this last week, how, like, Mob's character development is very gradual. You don't really notice it. Yeah. But, like, when you see it and point it out, it's like, oh, shit, yeah, he's really grown.
And that's, like, what Reagan just went through. And, like, exactly. Dimple doesn't really go through that until his arc, where he kind of recognizes, like, oh, Mob has grown up a lot. I can't use the same old shit on him.
Everyone's arc is just realizing Mob grows. And they're like, oh, shit, yeah.
So, Dimple's kind of like, oh, he's changed a little bit.
Right. So, yeah, and I think it's nice, and it's a nice little reminder, and you can really see how much he's grown, which is nice. And then Bouncy Mob.
Oh, Bouncy Mob. That's just what it says in our notes. little Mob just like, working on his...
He's like, I need to keep moving.
Exercise. Right. It's so cute.
Reagan, like, I really love this scene because it's good. It's a nice little reminder of what that, like, Reagan developed through Separation Arc. But it also, like, you can make a joke like, Reagan wants Mob to do his own thing because last time he said no, Mob quit. Mob said fuck work, but...
Yeah, he'll say yes to whatever Mob wants now.
Right? But it's, like, it's also goes deeper than that because he, like, genuinely wants Mob to, like... feel like feel better,
like
but,
he
like,
wants to help him.
Exactly,
and he's gonna do what he can do to help, and he really goes all out in the marathon training thing to like literally like run with him.
Right, he's so cute. I love it.
It's adorable.
Well, and it's like the scene is like he looks at Mob and he looks directly at his laptop and sees like how full his calendar is.
I don't think that was in the manga either.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah,
just to show how like he has a lot of work to do, but you know,
which makes sense because now everyone thinks he's like a real psychic, and everyone saw that on TV.
Right. So like, and it's like that kind of stuff shows that like he's like willing to put that on the hold for Mob now, that he's willing to put his work on hold for Mob.
Yeah, which is very nice.
Really shows how much he's grown.
And then when they're jogging, there's a little scene with Ritsu where Dimple mentions to him that he's running so that he can ask like Tsubomi out or whatever.
Yeah.
And we get this little bit of Ritsu thinking about Tsubomi, which is from like chapter 99 of the manga. So I was like, whoa!
Yeah.
When he's like, she seems like the type of person that would go home during hide and seek. And it's so funny. I feel like they're kind of like they kind of made this episode a little bit more like Tsubomi centric.
Yeah, they really did.
And kind of
the shadow
borrowed. Yeah, she's the actual protagonist.
Yeah.
As sort of like a little, I don't know, like they'll build more on it obviously at the very end, but because then of course they added the omake of Tsubomi's consultation.
So I think the placement of this omake is really interesting because when it was originally placed, like Mob wasn't directly about to confess to her. He didn't have a plan to, like he was like going to eventually, but it wasn't like, you know, it wasn't set up.
So I think this was just sort of like at the end, like before chapter 100, but
yeah. So and it wasn't like he was like, I'm about to confess to her, and Ritsu's like, okay, and then the next day she's like, I like somebody. He's like, no.
Yeah, it kind of sets up the tension a lot.
Yeah, exactly. But of course, you know, from an audience point of view, you know, Tsubomi was just trying to check it out and see like, because she like, well, you pointed this out how like she sees the picture.
She sees the picture, so she knows Mob's affiliated in some way. And I guess some people have said that maybe what she's trying to do here to see if Regan is legit by asking her question about some person that she likes, to see if Regan will give her like actual advice to sort of test like whether or not Mob has told him. But I don't necessarily know if that's true. Like that's how other people have read it, but I don't really know if I agree with that because I don't think that Tsubomi knows that Mob likes her. Like I don't think she knows that, so I don't really think
I agree, because even
she thinks anything about that.
Chapter 100, she's kind of surprised
to
see
that she does not
has
expect him to confess in chapter 100.
So I always kind of read it as like she thinks Mob's affiliated in some way and probably guesses that he works there, and so she probably assumes that like whatever he's learning from Regan, he's like, you know, learning and actually using, so she kind of tests that out, kind of, I think, if that makes sense.
Yeah. It's, I don't know.
Yeah, and like I like it because it shows like Tsubomi, like more Tsubomi's character and how clever she can be and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And I love Ritsu in this.
Oh my
scene.
god, Ritsu's just like, he's literally on the floor hiding behind a cabinet.
Ritsu, you're so extra.
I fucking Taylor's just like,
Regan,
hey, you okay?
Shut your mouth.
Yeah, Regan, shut your mouth. My favorite is Regan just being like, where's the other guy? Like, you know his name.
I know, I love that. Just to Regan, all kids are Mob or not.
That's what
Mob.
I know. Regan's just like, he's like, all right, it's blonde Mob and edgy Mob in today.
Mob's edgy brother and his blonde friend.
Yeah, his blonde friend is in today. So he just doesn't know the kid's name.
I know, which is like, you know his name, Regan.
He's like, this isn't Mob.
Where'd the other kid go?
Right. And also, like, placing the Amaka here really shows, like, you know, continuing with, like, how Regan's fine with, Mob doing his own thing after separation arc and stuff, too.
I think we're going to hear some of that cat on the audio here.
Yeah, I'm sorry, that's right my cat.
Meowing.
She needs to yell. So, yeah. So then they did the cutaway was a reference to one of the omakes.
Yeah, so when Regan's like lying on the bed like sore after working out is a reference to one of my favorite omakes where Reagan realizes that Mom has actually gotten, like, physically stronger, and he's, like, worried that Mom's gonna be like, hey, stop bossing me around.
Like a picture of a buff Mom, like, hey, stop bossing me.
Like, his worst fear is, like, a buff Mom that can finally stand up for himself.
Reagan wakes up in a cold sweat.
Oh, shit, I need to start working out, and he, like, starts doing all this training, and then it's like, and he ended up with a sore back or something, and he's, like, laying in his bed, like, talking to his mom on the phone.
Yeah, I love him.
So I was really happy to see just, like, a little reference to an Oma Key like that, and I feel like that might be how they'll fit in a lot of the content, because obviously they can't animate
every single one.
Even like a couple of the Oma Keys. Like they have to be very selective in which ones they animate, just because they don't like fit into the plot, you know.
They need to animate Shut Up and Eat.
I want to see Shut Up and Eat, of course, but I'm not.
Shut Up and Eat.
I know it would be great. And they'll probably do something at the end of the season, like a longer one. I don't know what.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
like how they
did
did season one. But we don't have to contemplate that right now, because I have no idea what it would be. But
yeah, I don't either.
Some little
it's
short.
Shut Up and Eat.
I hope so. That would be amazing.
That would so be funny. It should be quiet. That's amazing. So then it goes to the day of the marathon.
Yes.
And
it's just good. It's a good scene. Mob's so determined.
He's determined.
So
he's
proud
really
of him.
determined. It's like seeing Mob's like character growth is really great, and one of the reasons I love this series so much, because he's such a fun character to like watch grow.
Yeah.
And like, but one of the things with his growth is like he like is so emotionally repressed at the beginning of like season 1 and at the beginning of the series, but like as it gradually grows, you see him grow more bolder and like show more emotions too.
Yeah.
Like just in everyday life, and that's like him like becoming more accustomed to his emotions and stuff. And I feel like that really heeds way in this arc as well.
And his parents are there, and they're so supportive.
Yeah. Again.
So just another like, get ready for the pain.
Right, exactly. So something I thought was interesting was while Mob is running, Tsubomi sees him and is about to call out to him, like keep going or something, but she stops midway. And I don't know what it is with this scene, but I really like it. I kind of read it as like, I don't know, because Tsubomi doesn't know why Mob is trying so hard. She doesn't know that he likes her. Yeah, exactly. She doesn't know he's trying to confess to her, and like he gave himself this goal. I think she kind of reads it as like he's determined to do something, and he's trying really hard at it. Yeah. Because Tsubomi kind of does see Mob like different from other boys.
Yeah, I think that she still like remembers when they were friends, and like we can see like when they do interact in the manga in like chapter. When is that? Is that before Broccoli Arc?
It's right before Broccoli Arc.
Yeah, so like later on, that she still kind of has some like fondness and like respect for him, because he does kind of like do his own thing in a way, and I think she respects that.
Yeah, and I think that's really showing, because like with his character growth, he has become like more independent, and he's like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to run really hard in the marathon.
And she likes boys that run, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's the thing, that she doesn't connect 2 and 2 together and be like, oh, Mob is doing this because of me. She doesn't see it as that. She sees it as Mob doing it for himself, which she really appreciates.
He is, kind of. Yeah. But he's also doing,
Yeah, exactly.
Sort of.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing is with Mob's character is like it's kind of split between the two. Yeah. And
then Reagan shows up. Okay, so this scene, there were a lot of jokes about this scene kind of leading up to it because of the short shorts that Reagan is wearing in the manga, and you know, knowing Bones, like, what are they gonna do? What are these crazy bastards gonna do with these short shorts? And actually, they played it like very straight. Yeah. And didn't really. I thought they were gonna show it from like behind, and I was like, I can't.
Oh yeah. The thing is, it's like in Mob Psycho's whole thing, they couldn't go like full sexy mode. With anything.
Which is good.
With it, the furthest they ever gone was in season 1 when Reagan like swats away his sweat,
and that guy that he's massaging that's like naked.
Yeah, that's like the furthest they've gone, I think.
Yeah. But anyway. But yeah. I just thought this whole scene was really cute, and like he seems to have shaved his legs because
his legs.
We can see no leg hair, whereas in season 1 when he's wearing the skirt to go to the girls' school, you can like clearly see his leg hair even at like a distance. So it's like that man shaved his legs for better aerodynamics to jog alongside a slow middle schooler for the last kilometer of his middle school 5K. Like, Reagan.
I don't know if that's saying how determined Reagan is or how slow Mob is. Or how slow Reagan is even.
Yeah, he's not in shape. Although he does seem to be more in shape when he's like running alongside Mob at that point.
Yeah.
Although he also hasn't been running the whole time.
That's true, yeah.
But it also kind of implies that like he has been training like on his own.
Right.
In the background to catch up to Mob.
Well, yeah, and they show that in the Oma Key jokingly. But even then in chapter 100,
Chapter
he's
100,
like, I've been training.
Yeah, he literally starts working out because of Mob.
Right.
Which I love that. I've been secretly training my muscles.
Yeah, just like ripping that off, and Mob's like in
Mob's
full
like,
sicko mode.
okay,
like,
weird.
Okay, weirdo.
Weird flex, but okay.
Weird flex, but okay, master. Well, Reagan was probably there when, so Mob passes out from, also the animation from Rob running at that very last part was really good. Yeah.
That's such a great, just like, clip to, I'm gonna use that in like all my videos.
That's gonna
now.
be used
just,
in
like,
so many AMVs.
Mob running and so determined and he almost falls, but he keeps running like that boy. And then he passes out.
And Reagan's probably the one who caught him.
I love thinking about Reagan just being like, oh shit,
yeah.
Okay, can we get some help over here?
Yeah, I love the image of Reagan carrying Mob to his parents in short shorts, and they're like, who's this older man holding our son?
Yeah, they probably like ran up to him, they're like, oh, is he okay?
Yeah, they're like, who, they don't know who Reagan is. And then when Mob wakes up, he's like, told that Ritsu like finished
in the top 10.
Yeah, and he's like, instead of like conflicting on himself and being upset with himself, Mob like shows like how proud he is of Ritsu.
Proud of Ritsu.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of
it's
like
so funny because he has no like competitive urges with his brother, which is so funny because that's Ritsu's whole thing. Is he's like, I need to be a brother you can compete with, and Mom is like, okay.
Yeah, Mom's like, okay, we don't have to. Yeah, because literally, like, as soon as he gets powers, he's like in the alley,
finally,
and he's like, fight me,
we can
brother.
fight, and Mom's just like,
Mom's like, no, which is also like a huge trope that they like, bypass in this series.
Yeah,
like. Because usually they would probably just
and
be
like Ritsu like wants to be his rival, and Mom's just like, no.
Why does everyone want to be Mom's rivals? Teru's like, we are rivals.
I know.
We saw Teru in this episode.
Oh yeah, we saw Teru. We barely even talked about that. He was cute. He was just doing his thing.
He was just like, what are you doing, little bro?
Huge Teru scene, but
yeah, we're gonna get more of him though in like the upcoming arc.
Yeah, of course, a lot more good Teru coming up. Then I guess we gotta talk about show.
It's showtime.
It's showtime.
I guess we gotta talk about
we have to stop making that joke now too, which is really the saddest part about getting to this episode. Is we can no longer make the showtime joke.
We're like, it's showtime soon. Yeah. Just whatever.
It will always be showtime.
Yeah, it's always showtime.
Whenever show's around.
Right.
Showtime. Maybe the real showtime.
Was it the shows that we saw?
The shows we saw along the way. I loved his whole appearance was so dramatic. I loved it.
I fucking love Sho. So the thing is, I did not like Sho when I first read through the manga. Because I think I was like a lot of people where I'm like, he burned down Mom's house. What a fucking dick.
Well, I don't think you're supposed to like him.
Right,
like,
that's the thing. But then
he's like, very much like presented as an antagonist when he first appeared.
But like, and it's like you can like antagonists too. But I was like so protective of Mom's character. I'm like, what the fuck. Yeah. But like then later on, I'm like, he's just a kid. Yeah. And he like strongly projects onto Ritsu.
Yeah, he has a really interesting arc.
Yeah, he really does, which we'll probably talk about later on as well.
Yes.
But I really like Sho. And Sho is just like, it's fire time, baby.
He's like, I can't wait to burn this house down.
Yeah. So one of our friends pointed out, he's like, because Sho's hands like shaking on the door, like maybe upset about what he's about to do. And Jenny's like, he's shaking
he's just
from
excited.
He's about to give it
like, I can't fucking wait. I've been wanting to do this ever since I met you.
You ever meet a boy and you're like, I can't wait to burn your house down. Make your brother think you're dead.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun.
Yeah. So... God.
The whole fire scene, it was so well done.
I was just like rereading through this part in the manga, and I was like, God, I can't wait to see how they animate this. And it
was really good.
So
there was just so much suspense through the whole thing, even though you know what's gonna happen if you've read the manga. Right, but it's still just
it's so much, and like the sound editing in this is so well done, and I love. One of my favorite sound edits in Mob Psycho is like when something gets suspenseful like this, and there's like that creaky like kind of thing.
That's a pretty good imitation of
Thank
it.
you. Yeah. Well, okay, so for me, it kind of makes me think of like a creaky swing set.
To me, it made me think of a bunch of seagulls. Just all
Okay.
Just a fuck ton of seagulls at the beach.
Well, let me finish my meta on
Okay,
the
sorry.
Sweenset,
Okay,
and you can go into your seagull meta.
Do your meta.
So, and like Sweensets make you think of childhood, right? But in this, and that always made me think of like innocence and stuff. But like in this episode, like at this part, it makes me think of that Sweenset on fire, that innocence on fire.
Yeah.
All right, so the seagulls are probably representative of Reagan. Reagan's on fire.
I just think they sound like seagulls.
The seagulls are on fire.
They're on fire.
They're on fire, baby. And then when Mom is like, it's a shame our house is burnt.
I know, that made me laugh, to be honest, watching it. He was like, well, it's too bad our house is burning down.
That
like,
sucks.
yeah, I'd say.
Yeah, I'd say. Well, yeah, I sure hope it sucks. But I mean, that shows that like he doesn't mind as long as his family's okay. And then,
so I think the biggest thing to talk about here was where they cut this episode off.
Oh yeah.
I thought that this was going to go all the way through like 100% tenacity, so that we would be left thinking that his family probably wasn't dead.
Yeah.
Because that's, when Dimple tells him, no, this isn't your family. They're just dummies.
Right.
Someone's just messing with you. And like, he doesn't know that for sure.
Yeah.
But I think like as the audience reading that, we're like, oh, okay. And we sort of have like something to assume that they're okay.
Yeah, exactly.
And it does end up being true, but
Right.
whatever. But they cut it off.
Yeah, Bones is like, you can think his family's dead for a week.
Yeah, I was like,
Suffer.
holy shit, Bones.
Bones just cuts the episodes off in a way that they're like, just go read the manga.
Yeah, they're like, is this gonna convince you to read the manga?
Right.
Yeah, the anime only is like lost their minds.
Yeah, they did. There's like,
it's great.
The reaction videos are so hilarious.
It's hilarious and
Right.
sad. The other thing that people have been talking about a lot about this episode was the triple question mark thing, because in the manga it doesn't necessarily
go to triple question
explicitly
mark.
say that what's happening is the triple question mark state. It just shows this kind of like blurred like number percentage thing
That kind of looks like 666 in the manga.
Yeah, which to me, I always interpreted that as Mob is like on his way to triple question mark, but Dimple kind of like snaps him out of it.
Yeah.
So I wasn't like bothered by the fact that they decided in
To just
the
bump it
anime to just say, oh yeah, this is what that is.
Yeah. And like the thing is, like, because I just realized, because the triple question mark actually doesn't appear that many times.
It only comes out like three times.
Times total.
Well, if you can count the Ritsu incident as triple question mark, which isn't really even labeled as that, but it's like heavily implied that it is that.
Yeah.
And then the Teru and then Mogami are the only times in the manga.
Yeah. And then the
like sort
final
of
arc. And
yeah. Of course.
And yeah, I agree. I'm not really bothered by it because I think also like Bones kind of uses it as like kind of like a device to show the audience where Mob is feeling, which is fine. But the one thing that kind of got to me, and like this was implied in Mogami, where like Mob's body's vessel kind of breaks, and they show it more so in the manga, and like you see like triple question mark, and Mogami like makes a comment like, "Oh, your vessel broke, and this like your energy is too much," or something like that.
Yeah, this is what's left when like the rest of you is like
gone,
stripped away.
Yeah, exactly. And so this shows like Mob is facing so much energy, like his body is compulsing, and like it shows like shots of like his skull, it shows like his hand, and
it was
like
hardcore.
the clenching. Oh my god, it was a lot, and like it's hard to watch, but like
and the sound and There's one more thing I wanted to say about like this triple question mark thing is like the way that it's drawn is like very distinct, like the way that his hair kind of goes up and the way that his whole face gets dark, and his eyes are kind of glowing, and like that's how this scene is drawn in the manga. Yeah. So I think I mean, obviously I can't speak to like what it's intended to be by one, but I kind of think like what we're supposed to take away from the scene in the manga is like he's about to go triple question mark.
Right, yeah, and it's like, and
which is understandable considering what he's going through.
Right, and like that also tells a lot because the only times he's gone like fully triple question mark is when he's unconscious.
Yes, when he's unconscious, and also with like very like traumatic
experiences, such as seeing your family burnt in front of you.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah. So yeah, and so that is saying something because like Dimple brings him down a notch, but that
I hope we see that scene next week because I really like that scene of Dimple.
Oh, do you think they won't label it as 100% tenacity?
I'm
sure they will.
I hope that they pick it up right where they left off.
Yeah, they probably will.
But I could also see them just of how they cut it off, and I feel like picking up right from that point is kind of intense.
Yeah.
So I could see them starting with Mob just like in the streets, just being like,
I'm going to kill.
Like just being super raw, you know. And he's just like, wah!
Yeah.
And then later when Reagan and Dimple are talking, and Dimple is like, here's what happened. And then they would kind of show it, but I hope that they do just show it.
Yeah, because I think the audience needs to know right away that Mob is still like, he's like, because you would be wondering why he's out in the streets if his family's dead, because he's trying to find who did it.
I mean, I think that would be implied pretty easily.
That's true, too, I guess.
But, because it wouldn't be a very long scene.
Yeah, that's true.
And it would kind of leave us hanging. I don't know. I don't necessarily think that they will do that. I just think that that's one possibility.
Yeah.
Just because with how they cut it off, I was kind of surprised. Because I feel like they don't do a lot of things where they cut something off at a really intense moment and then pick it right back up. The only other example would be in, like, the end of season 1 when Reagan is dead.
Well, even then
then they still kind of like flash back and do it like again.
Kind of. Well, because they flash back to like, okay, this is what happened last episode, and before like going straight into it, they showed like that's when they showed the flashback, the actual flashback of.
I'm saying like that's probably the only time where they've really had like a cliffhanger episode, like episode ending, like. So, like, kind of seeing how they handle that would be sort of my hint at how they might handle this one.
That makes sense.
Where they might kind of replay part of the scene next episode if they were really going to do the same thing.
They probably will.
Like, kind of show, like, the lead up and then kind of continue. Because, like, you know, picking it up right at that point in, like, the cold open, you know, like, it's like, you can't, that's not how an episode works, you know, because all of their cold opens have been so, like, kind of chill.
Yeah, they'll probably just
because the OP is so lighthearted.
Right.
That you can't go into something. You can't go from something really intense right into get ready.
The
like,
end
it doesn't
itself is lighthearted. So seeing Mob about freaking out, and then it's like a nice little
I know that got me. Like,
anyway, speaking of the ending.
Oh yeah. So speaking of the ending, moving on. So they changed up the ending a little bit. So they took out the card that had Shinra, Emmy, and Minori. Yeah. And they replaced it with Sho.
Yeah, so we just realized that there is, like, a specific card for, like, dedicated for, like, new characters in the cast, kind of. And I thought they would just kind of add them all together, I guess. Or, like, add them with the other characters.
Yeah, or add, like, another card. But they kind of switched out.
Yeah, so they switch them
out, the first half of the season for kind of the latter half. So they're probably going to add Serizawa. They'll probably add the other, like, former Scar guys that are now on the good side, like Sakurai and Koyama and, like, those dudes.
Yeah. That's good news for you, you Sakurai stan.
I'm like, sorry. I'm for some reason a Sakurai stan. I don't know why.
Hot take. I like Sakurai and Koyama.
Yeah.
I think they'd be good.
Yeah.
Yeah, they work at a convenience store together.
They're married.
They're married. They're convenience store workers together. I love them. They'll probably add Serizawa into that little title card.
Yeah, and another thing that was interesting was that they added Sho, like, right after this episode, which is kind of hilarious, because, like, he's just about as bad of a guy in the eyes of, like, of someone who's only watched the anime as can be right now. Yeah. And everyone else in the ED is like Mob's friends, you know? And that's what the ED is like, here are Mob's friends. Right. So it's so funny having
Here's Mob's friends, and that weird kid who burned his house down. Who burned his house down and makes flirty comments to his brother.
If there are any anime onlys that are wondering if he actually did that, if they had just watched the ED, they'd be like, oh no, he didn't do it. Because like they put Sho in there.
That's true. Because even when I first read through it, I was like, wait, did Sho do this? No,
was this Sho?
Was this the kid whose hair looks like a fire? No.
He's Fireboy.
He's Fireboy.
But I think that the fact that they added Sho right now means they'll probably add Serizawa like as soon as he's introduced, if they apparently don't. They're not going to wait until they become good guys to add them.
Speaking of which,
Serizawa Definitely Serizawa next week. I would say both the flash of him in the crowd with the umbrella will be like right at the beginning of this episode. Oh, fuck. And then later...
That's the cold opening.
It could be.
Maybe.
I don't know. Their cold opens are so hard to predict.
That's true. We'll see.
And then I think that we're also going to see that scene with Joseph where he fights Joseph. Mm-hmm. Who, by the way, Joseph has like pink hair.
Love him.
I love that. I'm a Joseph stan now. That's all it took.
But yeah, I was
like, wow,
Bones
inspired
is like,
choice.
what if it was like purple pink?
Yeah,
to, like everything.
It's like pastel goth.
Yeah, pastel goth Joseph. He has like
with his
little
cigarette.
Cross, bro. He has a little cross necklace.
He has a pastel tumbler.
He goes to Hot Topic.
He does.
He takes Show to Hot Topic.
Show definitely shops at Hot Topic.
Oh, 100%. Show shoplifts at Hot Topic. Show
like,
shoplifts.
Your dad is rich. Stop shoplifting.
Show is definitely that bratty kid.
He gets his dad's credit card and shoplifts anyway.
But then
just for the thrill.
And then he just cuts his dad's credit card up.
Then he cuts it up with scissors. He's like, I lost it.
Yeah, I'm cut between Show shoplifting and being a brat about it because he has money, or him putting so many expenses on his dad's credit card.
He would do both.
He would do both. Stuff he can't shoplift, like stuff that's online, he would.
Yeah, he would just
like,
do lots of online shopping.
Why is there a $5,000 transaction for Fortnite?
In-game purchases, Dad.
The loot boxes. And then Mob is raw as fuck next week.
Yeah, I'm just so excited. Like, Mob is going to be so raw for the rest of the season, but he's also going to be sleeping for like half of next episode and probably a little bit of the next one too.
Mob is like, when I wake up, it's over for you hoes.
Yeah, which will be really funny. I mean, there's just so much good stuff to look forward to the rest of the season.
There is.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Yeah, I am too. This arc's really good. Woo! Serizawa time next week.
Serizawa time next week.
Yeah!
We might see what his aura looks like.
Oh, I've been waiting to see that forever.
Especially if they have the actual like fight with him and Joseph. We probably,
probably
will see what his aura is like.
Touchy
Unless
toes
we have to
next
wait
week.
until until we have to wait till like 100% friendship to see his aura. But I feel like we'll see it sooner. That. But anyway.
All right.
Bye.
Bye. Showtime.